So your homework, when you show it to you, it looks something like this. Another one with puzzle. It'll pop up. There we go. So, okay. So most of them are something we've done already. But when you keep going, you see you get something like number 7, where it has 2 variables in there, and you go down a little more, number 10. So there's going to be a few new ones, but most of it's going to be review. But I kind of like these because you can't really get through it with getting wrong answers. So you don't really have to do the check on these, because your check is, well, if the answer's up here, you know it's right. When you don't have an answer bank like this, you have to manually go through like you did in the quiz and do all the checks. Okay. So I'm going to really focus on these ones that are a little bit different. What we just warmed up on was kind of like what we've already been doing. Okay? A little more practice. So let's start at the very beginning. So a long time ago, first grade, when you're first learning to add, your questions were something like this. It said you had like 3 blueberries in a basket, and you had 4 blueberries in a basket. All right. What would happen? How many would you have if you combine them all into one basket? All right. And you had to go through and draw 7 blueberries, and maybe you understood it or not, but you're adding. You're adding. Now, we don't quite do that anymore, but we actually kind of do. So, combining like terms actually means counting. That's what it means to combine like terms and count by adding and subtracting. Although, this is first grade, but when you get to algebra, you just do it a little bit different. Instead of actually drawing a figure of it, you say there's, okay, maybe each blueberry stands for a B. So if you have 3 blueberries, in algebra you say that's 3B. If you have 4 blueberries, that's 4B. If you want to add those together, 3 blueberries, 4 blueberries all together is 7 blueberries. You say 3B plus 4B is 7B. And really, if you keep it simple, and if you keep this algebra stuff as something, I already know how to do this, they just write it differently. They don't make pictures for me anymore. Instead, they use symbols. It's more abstract. And we're just hoping that you understand that when you see 3B, you understand that's 3 of something. And if you add 4 of that same thing, because these 2 B's stand for the exact same thing, that we're adding them up and counting how many there are total. So when we have those in living equations, that's all you do. When they're on the same side of an equation, like we had something like 3B plus 4B plus 7 equals 14. The first thing we're going to do is just look at those and say, well, instead of saying 3 blueberries and 4 blueberries, let's just call this 7B. And now it looks like something you just put a quiz on. You just combine those into one. Notice how I didn't subtract 3B on both sides, because there's no B's on the right-hand side. We're just combining them together to make it simpler to solve. Another way of looking at it is that we know how to solve this, so we can do something to put in this format. You know the steps to do after that. And that's basically it. It's practicing when they're on the same side. Go ahead and combine them. Now, it can also be the other way around. It could be something like this. 3B plus 4B plus 3 plus 4B plus 7 equals 14. So if you have 2 numbers on the same side, those can be combined. So 3 and 7 make 10. And the 4B just stays the same, so there's no other B. So whether you have 2 variables on the same side, you can combine them, count them up. Or if you have 2 numbers on the same side, you combine them and count them up in the same way. The thing that we didn't touch, like here the 7, didn't change, there's no other numbers, that just dropped down. On this one, there's no other B's on this side, so that just drops down. So you only combine what is the same. Both numbers, both the same variable. Here, do a few more, just throw in some
underline the sign counts. You don't just say, oh, 5 and 3 makes 8, and you identify this as negative 3. So minus signs or negative signs are one and the same. You'll be okay. So we have 5 minus 3. So that's divided 2a plus 10. Everything else just comes, drops down. Same. We had just a plus 2 plus a. What is the assumed coefficient of both of those variables? What is the number in front of both variables? Yeah, these are both like 1. So if I have a plus a, that is equal to this. I'm going to break down the parts we're going to look at. So we're just getting to a place, to a problem that we already know how to solve. So let's practice just that first step now. Go ahead and write down the first 3. Do them together, then I'll have you try the rest of them. And do just the first step on each one. So if it helps you to underline, go ahead and do that. What is this number right here, by the way? Negative 5, right? So we're not doing 5 plus 2 again 7. This is negative 5 plus 2. So negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3g. And everything else, we'll just drop it down. So negative 4 equals 8. And then from here you can see on subtract 8 on both sides, multiply by negative 1/3 both sides. What about number 2? So we have 6 minus 3? Positive. Or negative 3 plus 6. Over here, so you got 6 and 4, which is 10. Is that right? Yeah, 6 minus 4, right? So what's 6 minus 4? 2. See how easy it is to look at that? Oh yeah, 6 and 4, it's 10. 4, 2 minus 4. Be very careful when you're checking your homework and you're checking with each other and you're checking on your quizzes and everything. It's very easy to overlook, especially when you're glossing over it, because 6 and 4 is 10 all the time. Minus signs, but also negative. Alright, go ahead and finish the rest of those. And once you get about halfway done, check with your neighbor, and then once you finish all of them, check one more time. I'll be walking around and checking. Okay, let's just go over these quickly. We have negative 1 plus 6, or 6 minus 1. It's 5x. We have negative 4 minus 8, which is negative 12. And we have, let's see here, 4 minus 6, which is negative 2. Right. Everything else comes down. What else? We have negative 5 plus 5, or 5 minus 5 is 0. Now, this is a unique case because we don't want to write plus 0. We can just drop the plus 0. Kind of like when we're solving the equation, we had subtract 5 on both sides. We usually don't write the plus 0 part. We got 1 minus 4, which is negative 3. Bring everything else just straight down. We have 2 plus 5, 7. 10. Everything else down. And we have negative 1 minus 6, which is negative 1 minus 5, we get negative. Now, if you knew exactly what to combine, like you knew, let's say you knew that you're supposed to combine negative 1 and negative 5, that means you know the algebra. You know what the step is, you know what you're supposed to do. Okay? Now, if you did that and you got like negative 4, that's arithmetic. Now, if you're doing kind of arithmetic or arithmetic errors, please use calculator to verify. Just to make sure. So you don't want to be not doing well in a math algebra class when you know the algebra. You know what you're supposed to do. You know you're supposed to combine these. Then you're going to add 6 to both sides. And you know that's the algebra. It's just what do you do? What are the steps? If it's arithmetic that's messing you up at all, please use a calculator. You can use it on every homework, quiz, test, final, whatever you want. So that way you can never say, well, I'm not good at math because I'm just not good at adding, subtracting, or fractions or decimals. It doesn't have to exist for the rest of your life. You just have to punch it in, and now you know. Okay? Let's just do a few all the way through. We'll do just a couple of these, not all of them. So all the way through, the first thing you would do is identify that there are variables and or numbers on the same side. You're not going to subtract 4n or subtract 5n. They're just going to be combined. It's kind of like the blueberries we were talking about earlier. Just think of n stands for like, I don't know, nickels or something. 4 nickels and 5 nickels is 9 nickels, right? Adding, subtracting, counting. Then go ahead and do the 2 steps. So find the number being added, subtracted. This case is positive 7, so I'm going to subtract 7 on both sides. And then I can multiply by the reciprocal, 1/9 on both sides. Nine goes into 9, 1 time each, so 1 times 1 over 1, just 1. Now on your homework, you have the answers up there, so you don't have to really write out a full check because you'll know if your answer is right or wrong because it's on, in the puzzle part of the worksheet. But let's say this was just from a quiz, then you would say, okay, go through and do 4 times 1 plus 5 times 1 and see if that equals 16. And sure enough, 7 plus 4 plus 5 does equal 16. Okay. So you can do a check, but check can be many things. It can be this, actually write it out. That's when you're by yourself, have no one else to talk to, or you don't have the answer on the worksheet. But like when we're checking in class, I say check with a partner. That's the same thing as doing this. You're kind of verifying, after you've done the initial work, verifying somehow that it's correct or incorrect. Or on the worksheet where the answers are actually on there, you'll know as you go along if it's correct or incorrect. So one way or another, you're doing a check on every single problem. It may not just be like this. All right, go ahead and try, let's see here, 12 and 13. How about that? 12 and 13. Check with partner, and then so we have 3r minus 1 equals 11. Add 1 to both sides. And then multiply by the reciprocal. 1/3. Those cancel out. R equals 3 goes into 12 4 times. Down here we have 3 plus 1k. So we have 4k. On the right, multiply by the reciprocal of 4, 1/4. Both sides. And those 4s will cancel out. And you're left with -1. So there's a negative left over. We have -1
well, same thing actually if you end up doing this last one. -7 and -8 made -15 x. And keep in mind, what is this asking? -15 times what is positive 15? You kind of already know the answer is -1. -15 times -1 is positive 15. But show the work anyway. I saw some people just kind of go like this and say equals -1. That's true, but guess what? If this was a problem, it'd be worth 3 points. If you don't have this, you got 1 point here, you got 1 point here, and there's one thing that's missing. That's 2 out of 3. And you're going to say, and I know you are, I got the right answer. I'll say, yes, that right answer was worth 1 point. Combining the like terms was worth 1 point, and multiplying by reciprocal was worth 1 point, and that point, you didn't do anything at all. So that's why it's only 2 out of 3. You got to shift away from maybe some of you other schools or junior highs where you just bubbled in A, B, C, D. What's the answer? We care about algebra here, and that you can explain all your steps, and to explain it to somebody else that doesn't know how to do it. So if you just kind of did this and didn't have that step, and you're trying to show somebody how to do this for the first time, they would not have a clue on how to do it based upon your work. So you're not doing it just for yourself, for you to get to this answer, and that's everything. Right? It's so that you can take your work and treat it like a manual or instructions for somebody else that maybe didn't know how to do it. And in real life, if you end up doing the math, that's important. You actually do need to be able to explain it to other people. They're going to want to know. Okay? So that cancels out, and now you get your -1. All right, so let me hand out your homework, and you can get oh, by the way, it does say make sure you write it on another separate piece of paper, all the work and all the steps.